All right, so back to some hip hop stuff, right? So I will talk for a bit about a four-part docu-series that was
Sure.
released before, well, I should say, leading up to Hip Hop 50. That is Ladies First, a story of women in hip hop, right?
Nice.
So what it's about in a nutshell is that, well, it's actually hosted by McGill Rhapsody. One of my
Okay.
favorite. Yeah. She actually does the narration for this, so I was like, what? Okay. And she also, does a little bit of she gets to be part of some talking head sections, like not like interviewing people, but being interviewed herself, right? And
Right.
well, the show, pretty much the title is self-explanatory, right? So we see the history of, well, yeah, females in the genre of hip hop, right? Uh, from 1979, the inception, well, the year where hip hop was born, basically, till now, right? So you see the progression. It doesn't quite start off with Sha Rock, right? Who is known as the mother of the mic, the OG, the OG triple OG, right? Female MC, right? It starts off with Roxanne Shante, right? And how she got big as well, right?
Right.
For those who don't know, it sort of started off with a song from the band, from the group UTFO called Roxanne, where basically Roxanne, sorry, where they was just talking about this fictional girl that all of them was trying to hook up with, and all of them get briefed. So it's like, well, yeah, fuck she, blah blah blah. So let me just do a song about it, right? So
Right.
Roxanne, now who was, I believe she was like about 14 or 15 at the time, saw this as an opportunity to come and put out this track called Roxanne Revenge, where basically she was shitting up everybody in that group, right? Basically saying I am the real
Right.
Roxanne, and yeah, I would never date all you, and this is why, right? So it was a great way, to capitalize on that as well, right? Roxanne, who is still alive, thank God, she's interviewed and she explained basically how she got into rap in the first place. And this is a main theme that comes up in this show. Yeah, it's about the hustle. And not so much about getting rich quick, but it's about, hey, I love this art form, I love the culture. How can I make money out of it, right? But I have to remember too that this is the United States, and it's really, really hard for black women to, really make it big in, in the entertainment world. Sorry. So let's see what I could do, right? I have this talent. Let's see where I could take that, right?
Right.
Um, so yeah, they touch on her. Sharrock herself is interviewed, but I believe it's in the third episode. That's where she steps in, and you really get in addition to the come up stories and all that, you also get some harsh doses of reality, way, because with Sharrock, she talks about how she was
Yeah.
part of this group, which is Funky 4+1. I think she's the plus one, and just how their careers weren't able to grow as much as they wanted to, because they weren't really getting paid the right amount of money that they felt that they would deserve, right? um, and the show just touches on different facets of what it meant to be just to be a female rapper in the 80s onwards, right? So like in the case of that group, it's, every rap group gotta have a woman, right? So why I have to be the single woman in this group?
Right.
Why we can't have somebody else there? You know what I mean? Like that, right? And you're just being singled out because of that, right? People not wanting to take you seriously unless you are part of a group, right? So I like that they touch on MC Light. She is also one of the interviewees there, right? And she talks about how, yeah, she was part of this large group of like men, you know what I mean? But she was the one who was doing the majority of the rapping, right? And I mean, she was able to kick off her career from there. She actually, if I'm not mistaken, was the first female rapper to have a solo album, right, under her belt, right? Which was Light as a Rock, right? Great album if you haven't checked it out, right? Um, of course, you go into the 90s, so you see people like, people that I heard about for years, but I just always kind of wondered where they were and what they were up to and how they looked like. So I saw Bahamadia, right? Very underrated MC from Philly. I saw McGill
Right.
Radiga, still one of the best aspects of Flip Mode Squad. She is
Right.
one of my favorite, MCs, period, just because of how, just that edge that,
Imperial is a classic.
yeah, Imperial, right? And she went toe to toe with Buster, even though Buster have the most memorable flow with the like y'all, right? But
Yeah.
how she was able to go toe to toe with was great, right? She explained she backstory as well too, where she started off. She career pretty much started rapping alongside Fugees off of that track, Cowboys, great track off of it. By the time she was, I
Yeah.
believe, 3 months pregnant, and it was just about her trying to secure a deal because she was about to give birth and she was going to start a family. So how can she do that if she doesn't have a record deal, right? So, and she talked about the maneuver, how she was able to maneuver that, right? You saw the brat, right? And she was talking about how she got her career, how she got her career kicked off, right? But speaking of the brat, they also mentioned too, well, yeah, just the dark side of the game, how you could just make a mistake and, your career could slip off. So I kind of forgot about this, right? How she was involved in this scuffle, well, a fight basically, and she got arrested, I believe it was for 15 years, or at least 15 years she was in prison for that, right? In the last episode in particular, they touch on, well, identity, well, just the, queerness basically in hip-hop, right? So, of course, yes, they touch on the brand, because, in case you don't know, yes, she is queer. She is married, married to a woman, basically. And there's a great moment where she's just describing how she was, for lack of a better term, afraid to come out of the closet, right?
Right.
And it was her girlfriend.
I mean, in her case, it was kind of obvious. I mean,
a lot of people was. I remember a lot of people was kind of joking about it from a long time. Like, she looked gay. Like, why is she moving so she gay? You know what I mean? But it's like she come out like a few years ago. Like, yeah, I am, right? But yeah, her then girlfriend, well, now turned wife, was the one who more or less let the world know through social media, believe it or not, that yeah, they're actually a couple, and then they got married, and then the brat actually had a first kid, I think, like just the other day too, right? So hats off to her, right? Even, well, of course, the OG herself, Queen Latifah, is there. They talk about her rise in the game, especially with how she started off with the Afrocentric stuff, in the first leg of her career, and then she got a little rugged, especially with the UNITY song, which that song Black Rain is my favorite Queen Latifah album period because of UNITY. That song is a masterpiece in my opinion, right? We see how rugged and edgy she was there compared to the Afrocentric stuff that she did with Ladies First, which of course is where the title of the show came from, right? But yeah, even in the last episode, because I know, it's one of those things that you don't really think about, right? But I remember at a point in time, there's a lot of people that couldn't believe that Queen Latifah was gay too, I was like, yes, I am.
That's a whole thing. Yeah, that's a whole thing. Yeah, that was a whole thing back and forth with respect to that.
Exactly.
From since, why people to think that is because they find she play a lesbian too good.
It sets off, yes.
right. So that everybody's
that's true. Yeah. And yeah, she addressed it, but she didn't spend too much time on it, fortunately. But she addressed why it took her so long for her to kind of come out and say it, right? And yeah, again, the show just touches on so much things, right? Just this idea of being afraid to be yourself, to come out of the closet if that's your thing, right? To experiment, to explore, to come up with your own identity and stuff like that, right? So just to jump into the review here one time. This was a very well done docuseries though. It doesn't reinvent the wheel in terms of how documentary filmmaking is, right? It's the same sort of talking head stuff, the same clips, all that kind of stuff. But it's how it structures everything. The structure of it is, really works here, right? So first off, every episode has this. They do this thing where you see a side A or a side B of a record, right? So episode 1 will be side A, episode B will be side B.
Right.
Sorry, episode 1 will be side A, B, that kind of vibe, right? But essentially, each episode is split into 4 sections, right? And then, well, of course, you have the introduction done by Rhapsody, and then you'll just dive into what the topic is about, right? But it all relates to what the main theme is about, right? So, say, the first couple episodes, it's about, just how hard it was for women to be accepted, in the world of rap, right? Why it is still a male-dominated, musical genre, right?
Yeah, a lot of them, unfortunately, very pigeonholed with the whole sex sell stuff. So
that's right. Yeah. And
I still think Pong for Pong Nikki is one of the best in my humble opinion. But sorry, she had to do that whole thing in the whole she for her conceit. For the most part,
you're absolutely right though. Well, Nicki doesn't get interviewed, right, and neither does Cardi B, but they are shouted out a lot, right? And you see, just what they had to go through, right? Because as I said, yes, it's easy for us to just look at the image. Oh, it's sex, and look at how sexy she looks, right? I think, she can't rap, she just selling she body, blah 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 blah, right? But no, it's deeper than that, right? And I love that they actually had these individuals to address that. So they had Cash Doll, Lato, And Sweetie addressed that. I was like,
Okay, right. Okay, well,
hey,
yeah,
all in
yeah, right.
this.
Okay.
Nice.
Right.
Yes. I still have not checked out your albums, but I know some singles and I've seen some videos, so I know what all they're about, right? But yeah, just those three in, for example, let's those mean three, right? It's kind of weird they didn't have Ice Spice in it too. It would have been really interesting to hear.
Nah, she too new. She don't blow.
That's true. That's true, right? Because yeah, I mean those three like Lato, Sweetie, and Cash, they were in it for a while though. Speaking of that though, I was actually surprised that that Lato was rapping since she was a kid, Dread. And she actually like did videos like when she was like a kid, like in school and thing. Like, all right, okay, I didn't know that.
But it always have, unfortunately, we kind of need a new renaissance for female hip hop. So for to have a lot of them who's kind of come up, for what they are, and they just never, like, again, it's the same coming out of the shadow, the sex cell stuff now. So it have a lot of them who like that. It's slipping my mind right now. Oh gosh, I forget. It really slipping my mind. But something like Samus, if you know who she is, right? Or God, it's slipping my mind right now. It really slipping. I just want to go through my list.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you see, they come up as well too. You see how hard it was for each of them, basically, to get in the rap game. So I didn't even know about Lato's backstory, but she was talking about how she won this rap TV show, this contest that Jimmy Dupree hosted, right? And yeah, she turned down the offer to work with So Def, right? Because she has wanted to build her brand from the ground up, right? She didn't want a man, so to speak, to more or less help out, and then everybody look at she and say, oh, you just get a big break and you ain't work for that, blah, 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 right? There's even a moment where, the show also touches on like the insidiousness of the rap industry, or I should say the music industry, right? Because she didn't have any guest features on, male guest features on, I think it's a debut album. One guy in particular who wanted to work with her, wanted, sexual favors and taste of that. And it's like, no, you know what I mean? So I didn't even know that happened with Trina too, because they had a clip where Trina addressed her. I was like, oh shit, what?
Let's be clear.
Yeah. So it have a lot of things that, if you are like a die-hard rap nerd, you will know, but there's other things that I didn't even know about, right? There's things that I was reminded of, like case in point, D Barnes is an interviewee. And the moment I saw her from episode 1, I was like, I know what they're going to talk about. And they talked about it in episode 3. Yeah, the incident involving her and Dre. Well, Dr. Dre himself. Dr. Dre pretty much beating her down, Dre, and just how his career basically blew up because he was able to just turn on new leaf, pretty much. I'll never forget how it was referenced in Guilty Conscience. That's the Eminem and Dr. Dre track, right? And yeah, that's how the band's career just pretty much died because of that, though, and it's really, really sad, right? It's really interesting that the show came out this week, right?
Yeah.
Because even though she wasn't an interviewee, they actually mentioned Megan Thee Stallion, McGill, right? And that shit that went down with that fuckboy, Tory Lanez, right?
Right, yeah.
Yes. No, like when I saw that news, I was like, yes, that's the best news.
You got 10 years for that, right?
But yeah, what she had to do, she had to deal with that fuckboy and literally getting shot in both feet, and he actually, like for me, I never saw the footage. Right? They just show a little clip of it, boy, and even though it's like a clip, it was rough. It was hard to watch. It was like really hard to watch. Yes, like jeez, boy. Yeah.
Yeah, that when she was limping out of the car. That. Yes.
Lil Sims. Yeah.
Right. All right. So
I was hoping that they would interview she, because I mean she's another one of my favorite MCs right now. But they just show a clip of one of she videos, like a old video she does, like, oh gosh, man, look at that. Reach out to she. I know she in England, but oh gosh, like it's Lil Sims, bro. She killing it, right?
Yeah.
But it's and well, in each episode they will zeroing in on at least 3 artists, and you'll see their backstory. You'll see they come up how they got into the game, right? And yeah, it's just really great insight into how they were able to find their lane. Of course, they had an MC that they looked up to, a female MC that they looked up to. Most of the time, it's either Latifah or MC Light, right? Or in the case of, say, someone like Sweetie, for example, I believe it's either Sweetie or Lato. They look up to Nicki, because remember Nicki was blowing up in the early 2010s now, right? With Pink Friday and all that kind of stuff. And you could imagine how impactful that was to future female MCs, right?
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, Pink Print.
I know real people who like what the blueprint is
Yeah.
to me, the pink print is to
Young
them.
Emmy
I
make
have like
a
a little
couple of
cousin.
appearances
Yeah,
too.
yeah, exactly.
Well, when she
Right.
was
Yeah, go ahead.
interviewed, they didn't show much of her though. But when I see, she's like, "Hey, you know me, see you, you know me
Right,
hear from
right.
you, like what you up to, right?" So it was a great way for me to kind of see, oh, this is this artist that I need to check out, like say Sweetie, for example.
Yeah.
This is where they came from. This is why they do what they do, right? And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's about women. It's about female empowerment. So if you're not about that, then I mean, suck soul for you, right? But yeah, that's exactly what the show is. It explains why people see, like, for example, Lato or Sweetie have to present themselves the way they do, right, in order to sell records, right? They even show like some popular tweets. Like I'll never forget there was one where Cardi B talk about all this effort that we put in making ourselves look perfect, and the hair and the makeup, and we still being disregarded in the music industry, right? It's stuff like that really kind of hits you hard, right? And it's just really a celebration of just women in hip hop, right? Mainly African American women, of course, in hip hop, and just what they were able to do, the avenues and lanes that they carve for themselves, whether it's the businesses that Queen Latifah came up with, right? Or the influence that MC Light had as an MC. Of course, they have to mention Lauryn Hill. They show how influential she was just as a black woman, right? They actually had Tierra Whack. I was like, hey, you in this too? Okay. And she talked about how seeing someone like Lauryn Hill blow up the way she did, being on magazine covers, how that influenced her and how she looked at herself. Because as a kid, she was teased for being dark skinned and whatnot, and just seeing Lauryn Hill do her thing was able to help shape her identity as well, right? And overall, just to get into before just to wrap things up, that's exactly what the show is. And I forgot to mention too, of course, you have to mention Missy. She wasn't interviewed. I was wishing that they got a hold of her, boy, but that didn't happen, right? I would have loved to just see her talk in front of the just have a little talking head or whatnot, right? But if you're a hip hop head, you really need to check this out though. But it just, even if you're not, right, it really does shine a light on just how underrated even to this day women are, right? But I do love the final episode where they kind of show that when they unify, when they do collabs together, especially when they bring back when they pay tribute to older MCs and bring them back into the game. So case in point, like Trina, for example, I think Lato and Sweetie did a track together with Trina as well, and it's like word, you know what I mean? It's just that that's that torch being passed between MCs, right? So that's great. So instead of like the whole and playing against the stereotype that it's women, so they always like fight each other down, right? No, they have to pick themselves up. They have to keep moving, right? And it's not just in rap as well too. It's about business. It's about what other lanes they want to get into, whether it's acting, whether it's just like products, stuff like that. Now, and even as a male myself, I could just watch that and still be inspired as well, right? But I do love the bravery of the show to kind of address the fact that it's been anything but a smooth ride for these women. It wasn't just there's the genre there, pick up a mic and just rap and get big. No, there was a lot of obstacles that they had to deal with, even from the 80s as well too, right? And you really see the dark side of it all too. But there's also hope as well. There's also optimism in it as well. So you can kind of look at these rappers and be inspired by them. So at the end of the day, you could say what you want about Lato or Sweetie or Ice Spice or Young Emmy and think, they don't look, I mean, like, what are they doing this rap thing for? Why are they rapping all this shallow shit for, right? But you don't know their struggle. You don't know what they went through, right? So at the end of the day, the show just kind of tells you, just sort of accept it, right? And even if you're not into like ratchet music, whatever, it's still like the conscious stuff, like what Rhapsody is doing. It's still like the jazz stuff, like what Latifah is doing, right? So there's all these different leans that you could check out, even if you're not into Nicki's music or Megan's music, whatever it is, right? So it's like that. So I really enjoy this though. Again, not mind-blowing or groundbreaking as far as documentary filmmaking though, but in terms of just shining a light on, the female MC, this was as good as it could have been, man. So rating-wise, we're going to give this decent or strong 4 to 5. I think that's absolutely worth checking out. Even if you're not a rap fan, you will, learn some stuff. It's very, very, very insightful as well to really understand, what these women go through. Again, the show's not telling you that you have to like Cardi B and you have to like Megan or you have to like Nicki, even though they have a particular look aesthetic about them, right? So you don't have to like them if you don't like them. I mean, that's fine. It's your opinion, right? But it's just like an understanding of why they are doing what they're doing. That's basically what it is. Just like a understanding as to why they do what they do. And most importantly, that this is nothing new. This is something that female MCs have been going through for decades now, right? And yeah, I mean, I'm glad that there's a show that touches on that, right? It's on Netflix right now. It's 4 episodes. If you binge it, it's about a 2-3 hour binge, man. It's the episodes are fairly short. It's like about 45 minutes or less, right? So you can just run through these things pretty quickly, man. But yeah, I guarantee that you will learn something from it and you'll appreciate it for what it is, man. So yeah, strongly recommend checking out Ladies First, man. It's worth it.